Thank you so much, Irene. I appreciate the opportunity to talk to you today about the green stormwater infrastructure and the work of the exchange. I want to thank and recognize Irene, of course, and Blue Baldwin, shown here, manager of the city's Storm to Shade program. I'm going to start with the why behind our work, move next to the how, which includes our theory of change, and then conclude with what we do, highlighting our efforts to frame GSI's principles and best practices and develop training that reflects on them. So on to the why. WEF's most recent survey of MS4 permittees, which has a lot of local respondents, revealed that green infrastructure is one of the greatest areas of need for informational and technical resources. And this is for the third survey in a row. They do a biennial survey. I think the 2025 survey is out there now. So pretty startling statistic. One thing driving all of this is co-benefits. It is no secret to any of you in the Southwest that capturing stormwater can be a great way to grow trees and combat the impacts of heat. And this was something that a recent ASLA survey underscored as well. These impacts are real, and they are worsening, as you all know, with climate change, especially in disadvantaged communities. The Climate Vulnerability Index shows just how prolific vulnerability to the impacts of climate change has become across the US, with the darker areas in the map being the most vulnerable. A major point here is that the size of the challenge is enormous. Clearly, more must be done to help scale GSI and to do it equitably. And the strategy, as Jalone White Newsom of the White House Council on Environmental Quality points out, the strategy must be integrated across sectors and across organizations. None of us can do this alone. And among the organizations that's trying to do just that is the Green Infrastructure Leadership Exchange. A cross-sector social impact network and community of practice that seeks to activate local governments in the United States and Canada to implement GSI equitably. We currently have 76 organizational members representing 552 individuals from across North America. Roughly 3/4 of the organizations are local governments and stormwater authorities. That's how we started back in 2015 with membership open only to local governments. It wasn't until 2024 that we opened membership to other sectors, which now comprise about 1/4 of our members. We'll now move to a discussion of how we achieve our mission of equitable implementation across North America. It begins with a theory of change that has 3 pillars, the first being building the leadership skills of our members through training and opportunities to lead and participate in task forces and committees. The second pillar is implementation support, the heart of our work. It includes many efforts to frame GSI principles and best practices and then train to those practices. And finally, there is building the evidentiary case for GSI, which includes studies and tools that help practitioners win support for scaling GSI in their communities across North America. And it is to a discussion of some of the programs that support this theory of change, the what of our work, that we now turn. Scaling up GSI as a practice requires a thoughtful and well-structured approach. The framework of GSI practice, shown here, is an organizing framework of GSI principles, best practices, and case examples that provides a roadmap for any local government that's trying to build a strong GSI program, beginning with centering equity, getting buy-in, getting all the people in place, organizing policy, building workforce and capacity, and finally, being able to deliver on the solution, designing, building, maintaining, monitoring, managing, etc. We've completed 2 of the 9 chapters of this framework of practice. We're working on a third. And this framework is the basis for a new annual survey, the Educational Resources and Needs Survey, which seeks to gauge practitioners' level of knowledge and expertise across the 9 core topics. The results of the survey drive programming content, including the topic areas to be addressed by peer learning circles, our monthly webinars, and new course development. And I will ask Veronica, who's on the call with us today, Veronica Houghton, our education manager, to put a link to the survey, which actually closes this Friday, in the chat. If you haven't completed it yet, we'd appreciate your taking 5 minutes to do so today. Peer learning is probably the signature program of the exchange. As noted earlier, the topics addressed by our circles, which are professionally facilitated and meet monthly, vary according to assessed needs, but the work of the circles has broad impact. Members of our equity circle, for example, received funding from our re-grant program to develop a guide and a compendium of tools to help local government GSI programs center equity in their work. That guide, which was published in 2022, was the starting point for the Center Equity chapter of the framework of practice mentioned in the previous slide, and more recently, a new GSI and equity course. The Exchange has developed several courses available as standalone offerings or as customized trainings. Among them is the GSI and Equity course, mentioned a moment ago, and the GSI Introduction course. All of the courses are modularized, making them amenable to being offered as customized training, such as the Friends of the Rouge Learning Circle program, which is ongoing currently and funded through a NIFWIF grant awarded to the Friends of the Rouge Watershed in Southeast Michigan. In 2025, the Exchange will begin to offer CEUs for successful completion of these courses through organizations such as the Landscape Architecture Continuing Education System, or LACES. In 2022, the Exchange conducted a survey of public practitioners across the US, resulting in this analysis of the levers used to scale GSI. The results show a hierarchy of steps, with getting the support of people being the first hurdle, putting the right policies in place being the second hurdle, and finally, implementing certain emerging practices, like charging stormwater fees, putting in place workforce development programs, putting in place retrofit programs. In 2025, the Exchange will implement a new Catalyst program to help a limited number of beginner and intermediate level GSI programs across North America learn to pull these levers to scale their GSI programs. The program consists of a site visit by member teams to the beginner communities to evaluate their efforts, and a facilitated peer learning experience for the intermediate level communities. Both also come with a year's free membership in the Exchange. To help local governments make the evidentiary case, the Exchange partnered with the Nature Conservancy and One Water Econ to develop GSI Impact Hub, an interactive platform with a suite of resources and tools to help quantify and communicate the multiple benefits of GSI and assist in siting and planning projects to achieve the greatest impact. You can find it at the URL shown at the top right of your screen, gsiimpacthub.org. And this is really started out, this is very member-driven, with the members shown in the box in the right-hand corner. Wanting a tool that didn't require a lot of data input, that they could use kind of as a block level tool to convince managers and finance people about the value of their projects. And so that was sort of the genesis of this. There is also, although it's not on the website quite yet, it'll be there by the middle of February, a compendium which evaluates every other tool that's out there on co-benefits, so that practitioners who are, seeking to evaluate the economic value of the co-benefits know which tool to use when. Every part of the what I just covered, from the framework of practice to peer learning to training courses to GSI Impact Hub, is driven by exchange members with the paid assistance of our staff and consultants. I hope you will agree that what I've conveyed represents an organization with a strong value proposition. And while much of this work is supported by philanthropy, member dues are also a substantial part of our bottom line. And I've provided some information here on their range, and you can find more information about this at giexchange.org/membership.